Hey everyone, welcome to the K0LWC, well, QTH Backyard Antenna Palace, whatever you want to call it. A lot of you ask me, what do I use on HF for an antenna to make all my contacts? Well, that is exactly what we're going to cover today. Let's check it out. So this is my backyard. As you can see, I have some ladder line going up here, and this is my wire antenna. This is what's known as a ZS6BKW. Now, if you don't know what a ZS6BKW is, it's pretty simple. It is a simple dipole. It is a modified version of a G5RV. Now, a G5RV is slightly longer in the actual wire elements up here on the flat top side, but a little bit shorter in the ladder line. So what somebody did was they found a way to improve on the G5RV original design. Now, the G5RV is a very popular antenna for emergency and portable work, beginners alike. It really is a good antenna no matter what anybody out there tries to tell you. But the ZS6BKW does have some distinct advantages. Probably the biggest is the fact that by retuning this antenna between the length of the wire at the top and the ladder line, it is now resonant on 5 different HF bands without a tuner. That's right, you can use this antenna across 5 HF bands, no tuner, or at the very least, use the internal antenna tuner on your radio. That's huge. Now, with that increase in efficiency, by making it resonant across multiple bands by changing the length of the wires, again, a little bit more gain. This antenna actually performs a little bit better and performs a little bit better toward the horizon than a G5RV on most bands. So what that means is if you really want to work some DX, talk to some other countries around the world, the ZS6BKW is a better option than a standard size G5RV. Now, of course, there's a little slight disadvantage here. To be able to get all this change in performance, the ladder line is about 10 feet longer on a ZS6 compared to a G5RV. What that means is you're going to have to get it up a little bit higher because you don't want any of that ladder line touching the ground whatsoever. So that is one knock. If you're going to have trouble finding tall enough trees or tall enough masts to get this up at least 40 feet, you may be better off with a G5RV just because that ladder line is shorter. But come with me, let me show you how I installed mine. It's by no means the best way. I tossed it up in like a few hours just to get on the air this winter, but it's pretty good. Let's take a look. All right, this is the actual southeast leg of the antenna here. You'll notice that I do have a pulley installed here. Now the pulley is key. The pulley is going to allow me to raise and lower the antenna, let's say if we're going to get an ice storm, a heavy wet snowstorm, or if I want to just do some antenna maintenance. I can lower this entire antenna down without having to worry about restringing it back up in the trees again. So getting a good pulley system is really, really important and really great if you can do it. It goes back and supports to this tree back here, and I have a tie-off line down here at the bottom of this tree where I have my rope tied off. But again, the pulley is right there. Right here is actually the end of the ZS6BKW. You can see the insulator right there. So that is the actual stopping point of the antenna. I just wanted to give it some more room so it's not too close to that metal pulley. All right, so walking underneath, again, this is facing east-southeast. This way is east-southeast. Looking back up this way, here it goes right over the top corner of my house. Not the best situation. Just ask my wife about how I get some RF into the house at times. But let's go take a look over down here and see what I have for my entry panel as well as the actual balun here at the end of the antenna. This is my Coax entry panel. Some of you may have seen the other video I made about this. This is actually a product from K7FP Metalworks out of Utah. What a fantastic product. Pricey, but really nice craftsmanship. This is a really nice professional way to put coax into your house and make your wife happy, believe me. Let's open it up. So inside the box here on the left-hand side, I have my LMR 400. That is actually what is running my HF antenna. You can see I have my connection to the ground here. That runs off to the ground rod. Very important, I have my 15-month-year-old son, Bib, stuffed in there for the most amazing insulation you could ever imagine. And there on the right-hand side, the lightning arrestor there in the middle, of course, and that's LMR 600 in the bottom and LMR 600 Ultraflex on the top for my VHF and UHF operations. So now as we come around to where the antenna actually terminates here, I want to show you some very important stuff about making sure you're waterproof your antenna system. So here on the balun, you'll notice that you probably can tell a lot of electrical tape, right? And that's certainly one way to go about it. That's kind of like an outer core for me. But there's about 3 to 4 layers of coax seal on both the top cap and on the bottom here near where the coax meets the balun. So important to make sure you're keeping water out of your antenna system. So before you go and rush and put up that antenna, make sure you buy coax seal. It's like $5. It doesn't cost anything, but it's worth its weight in gold in keeping water out. So making sure you're wrapping your coax connections if it's exposed to the elements with coax seal, or again in this case I'm just trying to keep water out of that balun with those cores in there, so the top cap is also wrapped. So make sure you do that. Again, the genuine LMR 400 here coming into the antenna, and notice it is not touching the ground. You don't want your ladder line laying on the ground. You want to make sure you're able to get your antenna high enough to get your ladder line up and off. Now, mine's touching the deck here. It's less than optimal, but I'm gonna have to wait and deal with that next year once I go ahead and move my antenna. It'll have to work for now, and it does. It's working good, so I can't complain, but just make sure that you can get it high enough where this is not curled on the ground, because if you have that, you're gonna have a really tough time with your SWR and loading up the antenna properly. All right, now let's take a look at the northwestern leg of my antenna. And I will say my neighbors have been really nice in letting me anchor my antenna to some of the trees on their side of the property and the wetland, and they haven't killed me yet, so that's a win, right? So taking a look over the tree here, you can just see my center conductor just over the top of my house. There is my Diamond X300 VHF UHF antenna, and then again my antenna runs all the way up here to this tree. Now the height at the end, and if we get a little closer you can see where that insulator is up there, it's probably getting close to about 70 to 75 feet here. So again, there is a little bit of a slope to this antenna. It does have a little bit of a natural grade going that way, and I'll tell you, we'll take a look at it in a second. This antenna does favor the east coast and southeast, so maybe that slope's actually having a little bit more effect than I think it is. But that's the leg there. This was the biggest pain to get the rope over this tree, because this tree is 100 feet tall. I can't tell you how lucky I was to get it over, and huge help from Benton, who is the president of the Maple Grove Radio Club out here in Minnesota, for coming to help me out. That one was a beast, but we got it. I'm so happy to have that leg up, because again, with a dipole, as high as you can get it, that's what you want. There is no such thing really for most people as having it too high, unless you have some ridiculous situation. All right, guys, I just want to quickly bring you to the front of my house here, just to show you what it looks like from the street view, aka my neighbor's view. You can definitely see my Diamond X300 vertical here. You can see the center conductor for the ZS6BKW. There it is on the west-northwest leg, and then it kind of gets hidden by the house here as you go down to the east-southeast leg over this way. You definitely can see it from the street. I think this is a nice compromise for the neighbors, because I sure would like to have a 60-foot tower with a Yagi behind my house, but this keeps the neighbors happy, keeps the wife happy. Again, a keen eye, you can see it, but it's not too bad. But let's take a look and see just how well I'm doing on this wire with all my contacts in the US and all the countries I've gotten so far. Let's hop over to the computer and take a look at them. So what I've done is plot all the contacts from my logbook to this point with Log Analyzer 3.2 onto a map. Now, there are a lot of programs out there that do this. This is just the one that I like to use, so you can use whatever you find out there. There's lots of them like this. Now, take a look at this, folks. This is 1 month of operating the ZS6BKW. 4 weeks. Don't let anyone tell you that a ZS6BKW dipole is garbage. It's simply not true. The results on your screen speak for themselves. And now, if you take a look at where I do the best, obviously I do really well out here in the Northeast. Let's zoom in, take a little closer look at this. Definitely New York City, Long Island area, New Jersey, definitely get a lot of great reports. Southern Ontario, definitely get a ton of good reports out of there. And look at Florida, wow, just a pipeline. Down into Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, there is definitely a lobe off my antenna, and this might be some of that little bit of favoring with the slope of the antenna. It just does really super well straight down this vein right here. I get a ton of Georgia and a ton of Florida 5.9. I got another good lobe down here into Texas as well. East Texas and Central Texas do really well out that direction. The West, not as much. It's not like I can't speak to the West Coast or any of the other states out there. It's just I don't do as well. And again, Maybe it has to do with the fact that my antenna is slightly sloped to the east-southeast. That definitely could play a factor. But still, get some great 5.9 reports out of Colorado, a bunch out of Utah, have Montana, Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona. They're all here. But here's some really great ones. I love getting and talking up in here to Alberta and Saskatchewan. Look at this guy up here. Way up here outside of Whitehorse in the Yukon Territory. I mean, way up there. And also 3 contacts so far in Alaska. But you know what? My favorite contact when it comes to the frigid north is over this direction. Take a look at this guy. He's basically west of Greenland. He's like 100 miles off the Arctic Circle. I mean, he's way up there. We chatted on 17 meters for I think a good 10 or 15 minutes. He was 5 and 8 here into Minnesota. And of course, Nova Scotia, Quebec City area do pretty well out that direction. And then over into Europe. Definitely getting contacts into Italy, France, Portugal, Spain, Belgium, the UK, Ireland, the Czech Republic, Slovenia. Definitely 17 meters in the morning, boy. This works really, really well. So get on 17 and like, 7, 8, 9 a.m. local time, and you'll do a really fantastic job with DX. Also made a bunch of contacts here off the coast of Africa, as well as down in here to South Africa. Perhaps my favorite, because it really is like one of the longest contacts for me in Minnesota, is Japan. Yes, just outside of Tokyo, I've made 2 contacts, one on FT8 and one on sideband. The sideband contact, he was 5 and 8 on gray line propagation. We talked for a good 10 minutes, no problem. Back and forth. That was a really fun contact because he came out of nowhere when I was calling CQ. So again, the results speak for themselves, folks. These are really fantastic antennas. Don't listen to anyone that says, oh, they're garbage, oh, they're trash. Yes, it's not the best antenna you can put up, but this thing will work the world for you, no problem. Like any wire antenna, just get it up at least 40 feet and you'll be in really good shape. Again, mine's probably around 45, 47 feet at the center conductor. And again, you can see the results and it works supremely well. Let me just take a look at some more of slides. This comes from W5DDL, and this is why he likes the ZS6BKW. Has low SWR and several ham bands at the matching point at the end of the ladder line. This means lower losses in the coax cable. It definitely, which is what I love, number 2, can be operated without an outboard tuner on at least 5 HF bands. It's a simple antenna. It doesn't cost a lot if you want to make this antenna. The patterns are reasonable for both local comms and DX work. There's so many reasons to like this, but what I wanted to show you is the actual pattern here on this antenna. Here's the G5RV in red, and here is the ZS6BKW pattern in black. And you can notice that, again, broadside, this antenna actually does better than a G5RV. Remember how we talked about it's a little bit better for DX work? Take a look at this. In red, the G5RV, black ZS6BKW. See how you're getting a little bit more power down toward the horizon? That means better DX contacts for you. Down here at the chart, it's worth noting, when you take a look here at the gain, again, in this run of data, 6.4 dBi theoretical for the G5RV, and then 8.5 with that greater efficiency in the ZS6BKW. So again, you're going to have more gain from a ZS6BKW than a G5RV. Now, when we actually plot that onto the radiation patterns, we can really tell how much of a difference it makes if you're really looking to work some DX by dropping that takeoff angle a little bit lower on the ZS6. Just look at how much farther you're going to be able to get in with your lobes around the globe just by making a little bit better of a signal push toward the horizon. This is on 20 meters here. We scroll down, take a look at 40. Like most 40 antennas, again, pretty omni. It's all over the place. It's a great 40-meter antenna, especially if you have a low noise floor. Mine in suburbia, not so great. I do a ton of work on 17 meters, folks, and this is a great 17-meter antenna. I've worked so much European DX on this antenna, and I'm just working more and more every week. So again, don't let anyone tell you it's garbage. It's a great multiband dipole compromise antenna. It really is fantastic, and you will have a ton of fun using this antenna. I can't recommend it enough as a first antenna for a ham radio operator, or even if not, I mean, even if you're just looking for a good antenna and you don't have a ton of room, this is a fantastic choice. If you haven't, hit that like button, thumbs up. It'll help spread this video to more ham radio operators around the world, and that's what we want, right? Also hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, drop me a comment down below. I will answer every single question that you guys have. That's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I love my antenna. It's a fantastic choice, and I recommend if you're looking for one, you get one yourself. So I'll catch you again next time.